what's going on? I checked out another book from the library. This is Leonardo Da Vinci's The Graphic Work. So I guess we're just going to go ahead and take a look at this book right now to see some of the great masterpieces or sketches of Leonardo da Vinci. So here we go. Okay, so as you can see, this is Leonardo da Vinci, The Graphic Work by Frank Zoller and Johannes Nathan. On the back it says, opening this lavishly illustrated book is a sumptuous celebration of the visual aspects of Leonardo's oeuvre. This is by the Art Newspaper of London. So let's just go ahead and flip open to the opening page. Leonardo da Vinci, 1452 to 1519. This is volume 2 of the Graphic Works. So we can look at some of the contents. On 258, we've got the Perfecting the Art drawing. 260, 1 drawings and sketches for surviving or documented paintings. 296, 2 studies of equestrian monuments and horses. 322, 3 drawings of human figures, animals, and monsters. 354, 4 drapery studies. 514, 10 studies of landscapes, waters, and natural catastrophes. 540, 2 drawings of maps and plans. 558, architectural studies. 574, 13 engineering studies and machinery studies. 620, 14 studies for military equipment. 366, 5 profile studies, character heads, and grotesques. 388, 6 proportion drawings. 404, 7 anatomical drawings. 484, 8 allegories, emblems, and pictographs. 502, 9 plants. 648, 15 studies of flying machines and bird flight. 676, 16 studies on light and shade. And then the appendices are 684 to 699. Concordance of drawings, bibliography, and index. So basically, he has quite an extensive amount of work here that we are about to get into right now. Okay, so we will continue right along here. Here's a picture of a head, it looks like, and he looks like he's trying to draw the optic nerves and some other kind of nerves of that sort. Here's a quote. Drawing is the probity of art. Are these agreeable words by Ingres to be understood in the same way as the useful advice offered by Leonardo da Vinci, who in his writings commends looking for the outlines of compositions in the cracks of old walls, and offers tips on how to lend expression to the portrait of a young woman? Henry Matisse, 1937. I think I was supposed to read that like a question, but sorry about that. I'm not going to read Perfecting the Art of Drawing or Drawing and Sketches for Surviving or Documented Paintings, but we will go ahead and look at some of these sketches. Just a lot of line work here. This one looks like it was going to be something pretty big here. Composition sketch for the Adoration of the Magi. This is Figural Studies for the Adoration of the Magi and Studies of the Virgin. These are figural studies again for Adoration of the Magi. These are studies of horses and riders, as well as more for the Adoration of the Magi. This one here is a study for the head of a girl from 1483, and this is a study of a hand from 1483. This is the study of the head of a woman from 1490, and this is the study of a head of a woman close up from 1490. Preliminary sketch of the Last Supper. Very preliminary sketch from what I can tell. Different faces here. Study for the Last Supper. This is St. Peter, perhaps, circa 1495. Pen and ink over metal point on blue prepared paper. These are Study for the Virgin and Child with St. Anne. Studies of the Infant Christ. These drawings are pretty good. This would be a study of the head of St. Anne and a drapery study for the Virgin. I always found that drawing draperies and clothing and that kind of stuff, clothing and cloth, is always rather difficult. Studies for the drapery of the Virgin's right arm. Study of draperies for the left arm and the bust of a woman and belt buckle and stuff like that. Studies of horsemen in combat and foot soldiers. Studies of horsemen in combat and horse studies. Some close-ups of horses that look more like dragons to me. Study of men fighting. Sketch of galloping horsemen and foot soldiers, circa 1503 to 1504. Sketch of a rider and study of naked soldiers and other figures. We've got the study of the head of a soldier, the head of a man in profile, and the study of the heads of two soldiers. This is the study of a soldier with a lance. This looks like a goose, something pecking out someone's ear. Study for the kneeling, Leda, and the swan. Okay, so it's a swan. I don't know who Leda is, but that's what this is. Head of Leda. This is from 1505 to 1510. Now I gotta figure out who Leda is. Spell Leda. If anyone knows who Leda is, let me know. Alright, we're going to stop here at the studies for equestrian monuments and horses real quick. Okay, so we're just continuing right along with the two studies for equestrian monuments and horses. And these do, in fact, look a lot more like horses than some of his other drawings that looked a little bit more like, what the hell is this? I don't know what that's supposed to be. Studies relating to casting of Sforza horse. Sketch of a wooden framework for transporting a Sforza horse. Sketch of a wooden framework for transporting or lowering a mold. Okay, so this looks like ways of transporting horses from back in the day. Study of a wooden framework with coasting mold for the Sforza horse. Oh, so this looks like it's he's making some kind of model or a bust for a Sforza horse. And these are studies for the Trivulizio, I'm sure I misspelled that, of the Sforza monument. So this is a Sforza monument that he made, and he's figuring out ways to mechanically move the thing into place. Studies for the Trivulzio monument. Studies for the Trivulzio monument. Again. It's a very nice drawing of a horse there. I was never able to draw horses too well. My older sister was into drawing horses when she was younger. She went through a whole horse phase. Went to a sleepaway camp, and I think it was called Camp Rimrock, where they had a bunch of horses and did a bunch of canoeing and hiking and archery and stuff like that. I think my only real experience with riding horses is double page spread, is when I was like probably 5 years old. I went around in a circle on a horse. This one is called Sheet of Sketches of an Angel and Various Studies of Machines and Horses and Riders. This is what this one is called, I mean. So that's what this is. Horse Studies, study of a horse's head and various studies relating to the solar system. Okay, that's kind of interesting, relating the solar system to a horse's head. Study of a battle with horsemen and foot soldiers. Sheet of study of horses, a cat, and a fight with a dragon. Looks like the dragon's being fought there. Alright, we will continue with drawings of human figures, animals, and monsters in a second. Alright, so we're picking up with drawings of human figures, animals, and monsters. Little chubby baby legs. Chubby babies. Some more chubby babies. Total chubs. Sketch of the Virgin with a child and a fruit bowl. Study of the Madonna. Study of a naked infant. Here's the study of the naked infant. Little baby. Study for the Virgin and child and of heads of the profiles and machines. This is study of a man blowing a trumpet in another's ear. How rude of him. Three seated figures and studies of machines. This is a drawing of a group of figures in conversation. Study of a seated male and nude with a sketch of a child and a lamb in its arms. These are studies of figures in action. Seems like he did a lot of these figurine studies sketches. This looks like Hercules and the Nemean lion. So these are picture studies of Hercules. This one up here is the head and shoulders of a Christ figure from 1490 to 1495. Here we go, some frontal and backal views. I don't know if backal is a word. Front and back views of a male nude. Some more pieces here. A few more babies. Very nice hands. Drawing hands, in my opinion, is always kind of tough too, but it's something that I'm actually not that bad at. Alright, here we go. Sheet studies of an ox, a donkey, and other figures. A dog and a cat. Bear. More bears. We've got some paws. Studies of cats and dragons and other animals. This is a drawing of a monster with horns. Studies of dragons. I always was kind of interested with the whole mythology behind dragons. Anyways, we will continue with the drapery studies once we continue back. Okay, we continue our look at Leonardo da Vinci's work with drapery studies. So I'm just going to kind of peruse through these. Again, I think doing draperies is probably one of the nearly most impossible things to actually recreate in a lifelike manner, but it looks like Leonardo da Vinci was kind of a master at doing draperies. Alright, these are profile studies, character heads, and grotesques. Wow, these are pretty cool. Alright, so these are the head and shoulders of a youth in profile. And the study of a young woman and a young woman in profile. The study of profile of two warriors in helmets. Study of a bearded old man and a warrior with a helmet and a breastplate in profile. I really like this one. This one looks very realistic. Drawing of two heads in profile. This is a head of an old man in profile. Head of an old man in profile, bald man in profile, and then bald man in profile. Some weird geometric designs with a character here. Studies of an old man and a youth lie in profile facing each other. Drawing of a grotesque male head and a sketch of a flying machine. Study of an old man with a laurel wreath. Study of an old man in profile. Some more photos of people here. This guy looks like he's wearing a Santa Claus hat. Portrait drawing of a bearded man, Caesar Borgia. Alright, so this is of the Borgia family. Study of a old man with a beard and braided hair. Grotesque head of an old man with a hat. Study of a grotesque. So these are kind of grotesque characteristic portraits of individuals. 5 grotesque heads. Study profile of grotesque head. Grotesque portrait. Study grotesque portrait of an old woman. Wow, this looks crazy. These are pretty intense. Alright, we will continue with proportion drawings once we come back. Okay, we're continuing now with proportion drawings, and I'm going to read this quick quote from Thomas Mann. Tolerance, is it true, demands that we respect differences of belief, but as already recognized by Leonardo da Vinci, to the degree that the truth becomes better known, so general consensus will come to replace individual opinions. So these are all studies of proportional drawings. I don't know what any of these manuscripts are supposed to be written drawings of. I think this is, I don't know what kind of script he writes in. I think he wrote like backwards and right to left and upside down or something. Or he wrote in some like really weird manner. Okay, this is the proportions of the human figure after Vitruvius from 1490, which is probably one of his more famous drawings right there. At least that's the one that's on the cover. Proportions of horses. Proportions of horses and a dog's head. Alright, we've got anatomical drawings now. So now we've got pictures of skulls, skull's anatomy, picture of the cervical spine and the spine. To be or not to butt cheek? That is the question. Side photos of just muscles and stuff like that. Again, these look like tendons and stuff like this. Kind of the rib cage and the spinal cord, more tendons up here. Study of the leg cut into quarters. More muscles from the legs. Anatomical studies of the muscles of the leg. Anatomical studies of a bent knee. Anatomical studies of a bear's foot. So this is a bear's foot right here. Another bear's foot. This is a picture of arms, hands, feet, shoulders, wind instruments, breathing apparatus. A whole bunch of crazy stuff here. This looks like more arms. Again, dealing with the anatomical analysis of the movement of the arms, shoulders, and neck. The cervical spine. Picture of the pelvic bone. Female pelvis and the coccyx and the lower limbs of the rotation of the arms. Anatomical studies of the muscles of the neck, shoulder, chest, and arms right here. Feet, legs, more legs. Anatomical studies of basically every part of the human body. These are all very, very well done, by the way, I think. I think his anatomical drawings are probably some of his most intricate and actually well done, in my opinion. And it seems to be some of his most extensive collections. This particular part of the book, at least. Oh, here we go. Study of the muscles of the lips. That's a new one. View of the organs and the chest of the abdomen and the vascular walls. View of the studies of the drawings of the human figure with vital organs indicated. Very nice, very nice. Anatomical study of the stomach, intestines, physiology of the kidneys and bladder. This looks like a heart valve, some kind of heart, main blood vessels for the heart and the aorta. These are the umbilical arteries in the fetus of a calf. There's a whole lot of these, my goodness. I'm just going to kind of flip through some till we get to the next section so I can take a quick smoke break. So basically, he's done, oh, here we go, a fetus. Nice little in utero fetus. This is a nice seashell design, another fetus in utero there. Fetus in utero, kind of fetal design. Two more fetuses here. Alright, now we're going to continue with allegories, emblems, and pictographs when we continue. Alrighty, so we are continuing our journey through Leonardo da Vinci's works with the allegories, emblems, and pictographs. This is Popham. Drawing of young man in costume on the back of a horse. Study of a young man with a turban, drawing of a young man with a costume. Allegorical drawing of various female features. Drawing of a man with the disguised as a beggar. Allegory of fame attacking envy. Maiden with a unicorn. Allegory of statecraft, justice and prudence. Aristotle and Phyllis. Two allegories of envy from 1490 to 1494. And these are allegories of joy, sorrow, and envy. Neptune with 4 seahorses, or quos ego. And this is allegory with animals fighting and a man with a burning glass. The ermine as a symbol of purity, allegory of unmasked envy, allegory with a lizard as a symbol of truth. Dancing woman, and allegory with a wolf and an eagle. Some geometrical designs and figurines and stuff like that. Really not sure what this is supposed to be. This looks like hieroglyphics to me. Alright, these are plant studies. Studies of a lily. Lilium cadidum. Study of a spray blackberry. Rubus fructicosus. This is the Star of Bethlehem. Alright, we will continue back with studies of landscapes, water, and natural catastrophes. So here we go with the landscapes, water, and natural catastrophes. Arno landscape, mountains and foothills, rolling hills and rocky pinnacles, mountain peaks and foothills with a river in the foreground. These are kind of on reddish paper. Some mountain studies. View of the river Adda and the ferry. This one is explosion of rock caused by the bursting of a water vein and creation of waves in a lake by falling boulders in 1515. Deluge over a town on a hill. Deluge and storm over a wooded region. Storm clouds and vortices and torrents of water over a rocky landscape. Storm clouds over a clouds and vortices and torrents of water over a rocky landscape. Storm clouds over a river, lake, or a tree. These are drawings of maps and plans. Storm over a wooded region. Storm clouds and vortices and torrents of water over a rocky landscape. Storm clouds over a river, lake, or a tree. These are drawings of maps and plans. Bird's eye view of the region of Arezzo. Bird's eye view of the landscape showing the Tuscan cities of Arezzo, Perugia, Chiusi, and Siena. This one's pretty cool. Map showing part of Tuscany. Map showing the proposed course for the Arno Canal. This must be part of where the canal was supposed to be. I like his topographical drawings. Topographical map showing the river Arnos and the Mugnone to the west of Florence. Not sure what this is supposed to be the coast of. Alright, we will continue back with architectural studies in one moment. So these are Leonardo da Vinci's architectural studies. This is studies for a building of a centralized plan. Studies for a building of a centralized plan. Sketches of a fortress. Perspective section through a centralized building and design for a building on a centralized plan. Study for a fortress on the polygonal ground plan for a double moat. Here's the double moat here. These are engineering and machinery studies. My father would appreciate these. I'm sure some of his co-workers would too. Hydraulic devices with for transporting water. Hoist for a bell, studies of the working of the cogwheel, various types of metal chains, mechanism to equalize the power of an unwinding spring. Drive mechanisms for motion of unequal force. Device for raising a mast, mechanisms for back and forth motion. Device spring with volute gear, handles and hinges for a two-way opening door. Door hinges, spinning wheels, etc. Sorry this video is super long, but this art book is rather extravagant. These are excavators for canal construction. Design for a drill, sketch of a rolling mill, studies of a tooth gears and a hydrometer. Hydrogeometer? I don't know how to spell that word. Machine for manufacturing ropes. Machine for manufacturing ropes. That's cool. Alright, we will continue with Design for a drill, sketch of a rolling mill, studies of a tooth, gears, and a hydrometer. I don't know how to spell that word. Machine for manufacturing ropes. Machine for manufacturing ropes. That's cool. Alright, we will continue with studies of military equipment, and I think we are coming to the close of this book pretty soon. Alright, this is the studies for military equipment. Mechanism for drawing crossbows, design for a siege machine and a covered bridge. Military machine to catapult stones. Military machine to hoist a cannon in an ordnance foundry. Study with shields and foot soldiers with an exploding bomb. Oh, this was his first tank idea, the original idea for a tank. An all-wooden structure, which was kind of like this. It had wheels, 4 wheels, and you could move it around, and or it could be pulled by a horse, and it would be able to fire out projectiles. I think I saw that somewhere. Sheets of studies of foot soldiers and horsemen in combat, studies of halberds, bunch of different pikes and stuff like that. Some over archways, I'm not sure what that is. Design for a shrapnel mortar. That's a pretty cool photo. These are studies of flying machines and bird flight. So flying machines and steering devices from 1485 to 1487. Studies of an air screw, a bat wing, bird's wing apparatus with partly ridged wings. Study of an articulated wing after 1490. Different sorts of notes on material strengths of poles and ropes, notes on ratio between weight and forces, studies between the characteristics of birds' wings, bunch of notes on birds, more notes on birds, studies on light and shade. This is shadows cast by a large luminous body and small opaque body from 1490 to 1491. This is studies of the illuminations of the moon from 1506 to 1508. Comparison between optical beam issuing from the eye and the light beam issuing from the luminous body. Intersecting pyramidal beams of 2 luminous and 2 opaque bodies. And these are coordinates of all the drawings and such. And I will end with the quote again. Opening this lavishly illustrated book is a sumptuous celebration of the visual aspects of Leonardo's oeuvre. Leonardo da Vinci, the graphic work. Enjoy your day, people.